I play a lot of RPGs on this channel, and when I think about the PlayStation 1, I think about RPGs. The console seemed tailor-made for those experiences in mind, and as much as it was loaded with them, I have not played them all. I have not even played all the ones I want to play. But there are several that not only have I played, but would go as far as to say they rank among some of my personal favorites. There are also some that, while I have dabbled in them and am intrigued by them, I'm looking forward to having the time where I can return to them and give them a serious effort. That said, this is Preacher Gamer's list of personal favorite PlayStation 1 RPGs. Next is Threads of Fate. You're going to see a bit of a pattern on this list. Many of the games I experienced for the first time, not on the PS1, but on the PlayStation Portable, about 10 years ago. The PlayStation Store had many of these games for cheap back then, and owning a PSP, I would buy them and then play them on the little handheld. Threads of Fate is an action RPG by Square that you do not hear a lot about. This game is all 3D assets, which was rare for the PlayStation, and the game was made much more light-hearted as its developers, coming off Xenogears, needed a break from, well, Xenogears. That said, the story's call to action for one of its two playable characters is pretty intense. Much more playful story, reminiscent in tone to something like Mega Man Legends in some ways. Both characters have completely unique combat systems to explore the dungeons with, and coming back to a central hub world periodically for more story and equipment is pretty standard. Both of these systems are fun to experiment and play with. The world being fully polygon-based gives the game a unique presentation for the time. Cutscenes and interactions are a bit more cinematic, and that helps the jokes and serious moments alike land properly. It's just a good, quick romp through a lighthearted adventure that I really need to go back and play again. This was the first game I ever bought on the PlayStation Network, and it's another one of the games I really need to finish. This game, though, I actually played with the intention to finish, but had a slight issue crop up with my PSP. It was stolen. I had so many great RPGs for that little handheld, and I was playing through all of them, having a blast, taking turns, getting a little bit further in each one of them. I was devastated when it was stolen, and while I did eventually replace it, in the time of my life where I got another one, I didn't really have the ability to sit down and play those games anymore. The channel has really helped me get back into RPGs, so I'm hopeful that I will get to revisit this game coming soon. The presentation of the game is incredible. The colorful backgrounds and sprites combined with the excellent character-driven voice acting makes the game really fun to play and experience. It's funny, lighthearted, and can also be somber and mysterious when it needs to be. There's a grand sense of adventure about this game that few others can match. The world feels wholly unique, and I can't stress enough how the art direction is just on another level. I am considering playing the recently patched Sega Saturn version for no other reason than it intrigues me, but I'm still going to put it on this list. The remake also looks well done, so if you're intrigued, go give it a shot. Another early purchase on the PSN for me, like Grandia, I was working my way through it when my PSP was stolen. Years later, I found a physical copy for the PlayStation 1 and played it all the way through to the 4th disc. Despite the disc looking pristine, for whatever reason, I could not get the game to load past a certain screen transition, and I had to go through that area to continue the plot. So I downloaded the PS4 version recently, and I hope that third time's the charm. I'll be able to beat the game. That said, I have seen at least 3/4 of this game twice, and it's a solid RPG experience, mainly due to the interesting battle system. I love the addition system, but I have to say that input lag is a real factor when considering this game. I tried to finish it on the PS3 when my PSP was stolen, but the input lag on the PS3 version was so atrocious I could not get any additions to land, which was incredibly frustrating after doing so well on the game on the PSP. When the game is running like it should, though, there are a few battle experiences more satisfying. The game's presentation and story are certainly interesting enough, but the translation of the game hurts the character moments quite a bit. Compared to other games on this list, the story is not as strong, but it does not have to be, honestly. It's good enough, combined with how fun it is to play, to be a strong entry on this list. You guys are probably going to get tired of hearing this, but this is another PSP disappointment. This was the game I had put the most time into when the PSP was stolen, and as such, it was the one I went back home and completed right away by downloading on my PS3. I had to restart from the beginning, but I was so invested in the story that I couldn't help myself, and so I put all the other ones aside and blitzed through this one. The game has some of the best sprite work ever, and the characters are really well realized. I know some people prefer Part 3 to 4, but personally 4 is my favorite. It comes down to the battle system again, as I feel personally 4 is more fun to play and contains more battle options for your party. I like the story as well and the perspective shifts that occur along the way. The Part 3 has a good story. I just feel like that this version, Part 4 story, is better implemented in some ways. I might get in big trouble for saying something like that, but of the two, I definitely prefer 4. I like getting to play as the sympathetic villain occasionally through the story, and it's really well implemented. I like the dragon transformations and the animations for characters and battles. There's a lot about this game to love, and while it's not perfect, no game is, it's hard for me sitting here to think of many of its flaws. So this game I actually did beat on the PlayStation Portable before it got stolen, so yay, we bucked the trend. But it's also the first RPG I ever played. My cousin left it at my house when I was a teenager, and I played through the first disc learning the ins and outs of JRPGs as I went. When I got stuck, I was totally cool with starting over. I restarted the game at least 3 times before I finished the first disc, and loved all 3 runs. I was learning how to play and appreciate these games. And so it came time to insert the second disc, and with bated breath I put it in the console. But it was visibly scratched, and would not boot past the PlayStation logo screen. I replayed the first disc a few more times, and every time I would clean the second disc carefully and give it a try, but no luck. Years later, when it hit the PlayStation Network, I knew it was time. I had not played the first disc for years, but it was just as awesome as I remembered it. I finally loaded that digital disc 2 and was confused. I'm replaying the game right now for a review on my second channel. The gameplay is on the second channel, the review will be on this channel. And I don't want to spoil the review because maybe I'll feel differently than I did about it 10 years ago, I don't really know. But so far I'm enjoying the first disc just as much as I have every other time that I have played it. But I'll put my final thoughts on this entry eventually. But regardless, the first disc alone is enough to put it this high on the list for me because it's just so incredible. I'll put a link in the description when that review is done so that you can reference it. But until then, all I can say is Xenogears is an incredibly ambitious game. And it has great presentation, it has good music, excellent music, and sound effects. The sound effects in the game are just top-notch. As I've been replaying it, I've just been really enjoying the sound effects. And the battle system is just really super fun to play. They all come together to make an experience worth anyone's time. And the crazy story is just icing on the cake. This is another game I was introduced to thanks to the PlayStation Network. But out of all of these games, this is the one I have probably replayed the most. I love this game. I love the setting, I love the mecha influences, I love the characters. I know its color palette is a bit dull compared to the other games on the list, and I know the story is not presented with the same level of attention as other games on this list. I also know the translation could use some work, but I don't care. I love this game. I have a retrospective about the studio who made it, and I'm reviewing it coming soon as I finish up my gameplay on this main channel. Look for links in the description for those videos, but until then I don't want to spoil my thoughts. Kind of like Xenogears, I don't want to spoil my thoughts here on the Front Mission 3, but I mean, putting it this high on the list, you can probably tell that I really like this game. I really appreciate all the things that it does really well, and I'm looking forward to sharing that review with all of you really soon. I love when developers fuse genres. Hence, the games that are this high on the list Wild Arms is a Japanese RPG Western fusion that is currently getting a Kickstarter indie revival that you really should look into. I love all three of the first entries almost equally, but as great as 2 and 3 are, the original is a fantastic adventure from beginning to end. I like how this game only has 3 party members. I like how time is invested into each of them individually and as a group. I like how each of them have unique mechanics to learn and grow. There's a lot of character customization here that I feel like does not get mentioned as much as it should. But let's be honest, what really elevates the series is the music. Man, what a soundtrack. If the opening track comes on, I never skip it. It's such a great OST all around. A genuine classic game that you should experience. You can get it right now on PS4 and PS5 with some upgraded visuals, which is totally worth the price. It's not a full-on like remake or remaster, but the 3D elements have a lot of the texture warping removed, and it's kind of like the Legend of Dragoon remake, or not remake, but re-release that they put out on the PS4 recently as well. And because I owned them on the PlayStation Network already, I didn't have to pay for them. I got to re-download them for free, which was really nice, and I'm looking forward to completing both of those. So we get down to the top 2, and I know that somebody's been going, where's Final Fantasy? Well, here it is. Final Fantasy IX. This was the toughest choice on this list to make. Like Wild Arms, all 3 of the PS1 games are pretty even in my mind. Mechanically, the materia and battle system in 7 are, in my opinion, the best. Story-wise, I like 8. I know some people may groan, but I'm a sucker for romantic melodrama in that game. And also Triple Triad. I just really enjoy playing it. But 9 edges them both, in my opinion, in that as a whole, it feels like the developers combined the best parts of 7 and 8 and all the other Final Fantasies that came before to make the quintessential Final Fantasy game. You should play all 3, but if for some reason you can only play one of them, play 9. The presentation is top notch, the music is incredible, the mechanics are solid, and the story is great. The others have been better in certain areas, but overall 9 is the most complete package. Also Vivi. Vivi alone is worth the journey, and my kids and I cried when we reached the end of my most recent playthrough. I bought a brand new PlayStation copy from Square a few years back and unboxed it on this channel, so if you're interested, follow the links to that video. This is probably a surprise to no one, but I love Star Ocean, and I couldn't help but put it at the very top of this list. The pre-rendered visuals combined with the character sprites are some of my favorites on the console. The music inspires a spirit of adventure, drawing to mind both swords and sorcery as well as space exploration. I've already mentioned I love fusion genres, and I think that people who complain about the lack of space travel in the game miss the point a little bit. Some of those best Star Trek stories are not planet-hopping adventures. Think of City on the Edge of Forever, The Inner Light. These are clear inspirations for this kind of story. I have a dream to one day create a D&D character who is a Starfleet officer stranded in the Dungeon Master's world, trying not to break the Prime Directive, but also save the world because he might be stuck in it forever. I might even name the character Claude. I have a retrospective on the developer for this game, but I also have a retrospective on this game alone coming soon in light of the 2 remakes that it's received. I just beat the brand new remake over on my channel. I'm replaying through the original on the PS1 right now, and I'm probably going to play at least some of the PSP remake before that retrospective comes out. So if you love Star Ocean, or if you're trying to figure out what in the world I'm talking about, Star Ocean is all over my main channel right now, and just come and experience a little bit of it. It's just such a great experience. I mean, I know in the back of my brain that Final Fantasy IX probably deserves to be higher on this list than Star Ocean, but my personal attachment to this game just means that I couldn't help but put it anywhere but except number 1. Thanks for watching this list. Again, if your favorite's not on here, something like Vagrant Story, it's probably just because I haven't had a chance to play those games yet, and I look forward to trying them. Share your list with me so that I can try those games. I love RPGs, so your recommendations are more than welcome. Also, look for more top 10s coming soon. And as always, you guys have a great day and see you soon.